What happens when one of the most famous women in the world walks onto a late-night stage and completely loses control? In just 35 seconds, a single comment turned a friendly interview into a total disaster that left the entire audience sitting in stunned silence. Seth Meyers sat behind his desk that night wearing his usual warm smile, ready to welcome his guest with the respect and kindness he shows to everyone who takes that seat. The audience applauded as Meghan Markle stepped onto the stage in a designer gown that likely cost more than most people earn in an entire year. She gave a brief wave, but there was something different in her expression, something distant, almost cold. Seth stood up to greet her, extending his hand. "Welcome to the show. It's so great to have you here." She shook his hand quickly, barely making eye contact, then sat down without saying thank you. The audience didn't notice, but Seth did. Still, he kept smiling because that's what a professional does. So, Seth began settling back into his chair. "You've been involved in so many incredible projects lately. I'd love to hear about what you've been working on." Meghan crossed her arms and leaned back. "Well, Seth, I'm glad you asked, but I honestly expected better research from your team. The projects I'm working on aren't just amazing. They're world-changing. There's a difference." The audience laughed nervously, assuming she was joking. Seth smiled, trying to keep things light. "You're absolutely right. World-changing sounds much better. So, tell us about these world-changing projects." "I would," Meghan said slowly, "but I'm not sure this audience would truly understand the depth of what I'm trying to accomplish. No offense, but my work operates on a level that requires a certain sophistication." The laughter stopped. People exchanged confused looks. Seth stayed calm and nodded. "Well, you might be surprised. We have a pretty smart audience. I think they can handle it." Meghan let out a small laugh. Not warm, not friendly. "Can they?" "Honestly, Seth, I came on this show because I thought it would be a good platform to reach people who actually matter. But looking around, I'm starting to wonder if I made the right choice." The audience gasped. Seth blinked, clearly caught off guard, but kept his voice steady. "I'm sorry you feel that way. Everyone who watches this show matters. That's the whole point of what we do, is it?" Meghan leaned forward, her voice sharpening. "Or is this just another talk show where you make jokes and nothing truly changes? Because from where I'm sitting, this all feels very small." Seth took a slow breath, choosing his words carefully. "We try to do meaningful work here. We talk about important issues, give people a voice, and make people laugh. I think that has value too." "Making people laugh," Meghan repeated, shaking her head. "That's exactly my point. While you're here telling jokes, I'm out there changing lives. I work with communities you probably couldn't even find on a map." "I'm sure you're doing important work," Seth said calmly. "But that doesn't mean what we do here has no value just because it's different." Meghan rolled her eyes. Actually rolled them on camera. "Seth, when you've lived the life I've lived, when you've been through what I've been through, you see things more clearly than others. You understand who really matters and who's just existing." The studio fell completely silent. This was no longer entertaining. It was uncomfortable. "I respect your experiences," Seth said gently. "But difficult experiences don't give anyone the right to talk down to others. Everyone here has their own story, and everyone deserves respect." "Do they?" Meghan asked, looking straight into the camera. "Because I look at this audience and wonder how many of them have done anything meaningful. How many have sacrificed what I've sacrificed? How many wake up every day knowing the world is watching their every move?" "That's enough," Seth said firmly. His smile was gone. "I invited you here as a guest and treated you with respect. You've spent the last several minutes insulting me, this show, and everyone in this audience." Meghan laughed again. "Oh, here we go. The man feels disrespected. Let me tell you about disrespect, Seth. I lived with it for years. So, forgive me if I don't care about your hurt feelings." "Your experiences don't excuse your behavior," Seth replied. "And they don't justify treating people like they're beneath you." "Beneath me," Meghan stood up, her voice rising. "I don't think I'm more important. I know I am. Look at what I've accomplished. Look at my platform and then look at this little late-night show that barely anyone will remember in 5 years. The audience began booing loudly. Seth raised his hand, but Meghan continued, "You're intimidated, Seth. You can't handle someone with real influence. You're used to safe interviews, not someone who challenges you." Seth stood up, his voice steady but firm. "I'm not intimidated. I'm disappointed. Someone who speaks about kindness should not behave this way. You've been rude from the moment you sat down, and I think it's time for you to leave." "Excuse me," Meghan snapped. "You're kicking me off?" "Yes," Seth said. "This is my show, and I will not let anyone stand here and tell my audience they don't matter. You can't do this. Do you know who I am?" "I do," Seth replied. "And you can leave on your own or security can escort you out." The audience erupted in applause. Meghan grabbed her purse. "This is unbelievable. You're going to regret this." "You humiliated yourself," Seth said quietly. She turned to the audience. "You'll regret this too." "We're going to take a quick break," Seth announced. "After you destroyed my reputation?" Meghan shouted. "You destroyed your own reputation." Seth replied. "No one forced you to behave this way." A security guard stepped forward. Meghan hesitated, then straightened her shoulders. "Fine, I'm leaving, but this whole place is beneath me." Her heels echoed across the silent studio as she walked off. The door closed behind her. For a moment, nobody moved. Finally, Seth exhaled. "Well, that was not how I expected tonight to go." The audience exploded into applause. "I never want to remove anyone from this show," Seth said. "But respect goes both ways. Everyone here matters." The applause grew louder. "Fame doesn't give anyone the right to treat others badly. We all deserve dignity." When the show resumed, the atmosphere slowly returned to normal. But no one would forget what they had witnessed. Because that moment wasn't just about a celebrity losing control.